If you're looking to build a gaming PC in 2026, should you be waiting to Amazon Prime Day or should you be buying some of the amazing RAM combo deals right now? Welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. This is our look at CPU prices in May 2026. We're going to go through the best CPU to buy at every budget level for both gaming and production. We'll take a look at what CPUs I expect to go on sale for Amazon Prime Day or what deals you should be picking up right now. If you get value out of this video, please give it a like. Of course, subscribe for more cool PC content. Let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by Meter, the company building better networks. Now, before YouTube, I ran operations at nonprofits, and like most businesses, our biggest headache was networking. I wish we'd had Meter. Meter builds out full stack networking solutions that actually work for business. That's because they manage every aspect. Meter designs the hardware, they write the firmware, and they build the software. So it all works together. And Meter's networking solutions are built to give you maximum control with deep visibility, policy level control, and ongoing support, and all at a price that works for your business. If you're ready to offload your networking headaches to a trusted partner, go to meter.com/PCBuilder to book a demo now, or click the link in the video description. All right, of course, as we went through in our previous video, Amazon is moving up Prime Day to June instead of July. They're coming a month earlier, and I speculated, I thought that date might be earlier in June. However, at the time I'm filming this, it's already mid-May, and if that were the case, I would have expected Amazon to already have basically made the date public. We haven't seen any public dates whatsoever, not even any leak dates, so it might actually be more the back half of June. We'll have to wait and see on that, but it is definitely going to be earlier than the typical kind of mid-July rollout of Amazon Prime Day. So let's take a look at CPU prices in May 2026, see where things are, and I'll kind of go through where I expect to see some discounts. Starting on the more budget AM4 CPUs, Ryzen CPU pricing, I do see that prices have gone up. For instance, for the Ryzen 5 5500, that's kind of been a staple budget gaming CPU out there, like the lowest cost one. But at the same time, the 5800 XT has come down in price. Oftentimes about 30 days before Prime Day, we will see a lot of the prices kind of float back up. That way they can say, oh, look, lowest price in 30 days. That being said, there are often some discounts in there as well. Moving over to AM5 Ryzen CPUs that use DDR5 RAM, obviously, we've got like the Ryzen 7500F, basically about the same price as previously. Kind of the entry level to AM5, $137. There's an OEM non-box version that you can pick up for like $119 instead. You save yourself $10 if you want. Real standouts here, honestly, the 7600 X3D for $229. $229. I know in other regions, the 7500 X3D is the standout there. Maybe I'll combine those two listings at some point, but here it is right now on Amazon for $229. Remember, we have a whole 7600 X3D gaming PC build guide. I'll link it down in the video description. You can check it out. And then kind of moving up, we've got the 7800 X3D. Got a little bit of a price cut to $359 last month. Kind of holds on to that at $362 right now. That's if you clip this coupon here at the bottom. Check Newegg, by the way. Newegg will often offer these for just a little bit more, but then they'll bundle some other items with it. And then we've got the 9800 X3D right now. You can pick it up for $419. It's not a bad value overall. We'll see how they stack up against each other and against Intel's best. And we got the 9850 X3D actually at its lowest price right now at $459 as well. And a quick look at the Ryzen 9, more production-oriented CPUs out there. No real changes except the 9900 X3D actually took a nice price cut from $569 last month to $509 right now. Before we jump in Intel CPU prices, you do get right now through July 31st, 2026, a free copy of Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight with the purchase of any Intel Core Ultra CPU, either on the desktop or mobile. I went through, looks like they're pretty much all included there. I do want to note, of course, that Lego Batman, not without some controversy itself, because they're using frame generation, the developer is, to hit like 30 FPS targets out there. You can Google the controversy to find out more yourself. If you do want the game, it does look like a lot of fun. Make sure it's in your cart at the time of checkout. And at least right now, it's a $69 value over on Steam. In terms of Intel CPU pricing, looking at the more budget gaming CPUs, not a lot of change here. The i5 12400 basically comes down to $89. It is nice to see the i5 12400 available again. However, it went up $10. The 12600K had an insane deal at Newegg last month. That's gone, but still a pretty good deal. Meanwhile, the 14400 seems to be coming back into stock, but don't overspend for that. Remember, it's just an i5 12600K that's been locked and downclocked. And then as we look to the Intel Core Ultra parts, it is nice to see the Core Ultra 250K Plus at $195 right now. And if you pick that up over at Newegg, you get the KF version of it. You do get a 240 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler as well as the spring bundle. I'm noting right now at Amazon, even if you buy it, you don't get the spring bundle. And then in terms of the Core Ultra 7 270K Plus, with the $5 promo code, you basically pick it up, yes, over its MSRP at Intel. I don't know how you keep doing this. However, you do get a pretty nice 240mm all-in-one liquid cooler, and you do get the game bundle as well. And of course, if you pick it up over at Amazon, you basically just get 10 bucks off. Let's talk about RAM prices, of course, because they're very important if you're going to build a gaming PC. Now, I said last month that I wasn't sure if some of the RAM combo deals were going to go away. I did note that they seem to be getting a little bit worse over time in terms of the discount. However, I think Newegg was like, oh, okay, fine. They went out and actually cut a lot of prices on their DDR4 combo kits here, more at the budget end, but they are now offering a lot more combo kits that have a motherboard, RAM, and an SSD, things like that. They're not CPU bound, basically. You're still getting the biggest discounts with anything with a CPU to it. However, they are adding some additional kits if you want to use a CPU that's not a Ryzen 5 5500. On the DDR5 side, however, I noticed just yesterday a lot of combos dropped off. Now, that could be because they're gearing up for their sale, so they're not going to have as much available, but they also now have some 16GB DDR5 kits with a motherboard and an SSD that aren't CPU bound. They still have some of the good combos like the Ryzen 7600X, 16 gigs of RAM right here, along with a pretty decent motherboard for $450. That cost has gone up a little bit, but they also have some of the DDR5 combos that are 32 gigabytes as well now with SSDs. They're not CPU bound either. I'll leave links both to the DDR4 and DDR5 combos down in the video description for you to check out. I have also been working on our global RAM combo spreadsheet. Here you can see the ones highlighted in green are the ones that I have vetted, and basically I've stripped out all of the junk out of this spreadsheet. So it's just basically the country, the region, the retailer, and it should be a direct link to the general listings for their combo deals there. So you can check this out. It's linked down in the video description. And of course, if you're just looking to buy a kit off the shelf, again, I don't recommend that in 2026. I'd say buy a combo kit if you can, but I am tracking RAM prices here. If we take a look at prices right now, we'll do our whole RAM market update video a little bit later, but basically you can see in May, prices relatively unchanged from April. They've gone up a little bit in terms of the lower cost DDR5 kits. They've gone up a little bit in terms of the 32 gigabyte kits for DDR5. And if you're wondering why that might be, well, unfortunately, it looks like due to the fallout from higher oil prices, and you can find out why that is, but basically retailers are beginning to add a fuel surcharge to just about everything. Not only that, but obviously these components take petroleum products in order to manufacture in the first place. So we're kind of getting hit from both sides of there. So we are seeing some price increases overall from this. The only piece of CPU news I have before we jump into the best gaming and production CPU at every budget level is basically, it does look like Intel is going to go ahead and launch their Nova Lake CPUs in 2026, probably in the fall, just like we expected them to. There was some talk that this would get pushed into 2027 because of some missed dates for that. However, it looks like they're on schedule for that, including for their X3D variants of Nova Lake, which we do expect to have significantly higher performance and start slugging it out with AMD for the gaming crown. Remember, these CPUs are also going to have multi-generations on the same socket. Intel's finally listening, so there is that as well. Let's jump to the best CPUs in May 2026 for both gaming and production to buy. We'll also talk about which one of these might go on sale during Prime Day, for instance. If you're not familiar with how we do this, we have this big spreadsheet here for gaming. We've also got a tab here for production CPUs. We basically take the cost of the entire platform. That's the CPU cost, the RAM cost, the motherboard cost, the cooler cost, and we get a price to performance based on its either gaming score or its production score. And then we divide them up by budget level. If you want, you can jump into the spreadsheet. It's linked down below. You can put your pricing in. You can change the configurations if you want. Check it out. Let's jump to the best budget gaming CPU in May 2026 to buy right now. This is with a total platform price is less than $500. And surprisingly, you're going to see not just DDR4 CPUs, but actually DDR5 CPUs as well. We're using 16 gigabyte kits here, and the cost of DDR5 16 gigabyte kits has come down to just around $220, which has made them a lot more competitive. I've also this month going to slip in some Newegg combos in here because I just felt like, what do the combos look like compared to what you're going to buy for a la carte? So it's no surprise that we see the Ryzen 5500 at the top of the chart here. It's a dirt cheap CPU. It's got decent enough performance for most kind of lower end GPUs up to like a 9060 XT, 16 gigabyte. I'd probably skip the 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte just because of the PCIe interface on there and it only being PCIe Gen 3. Then you see things like the Ryzen 7500F somehow makes this list. $477 for the total platform prices, is pretty insane. However, if you pick up a combo deal, how does that change things? Well, for the Ryzen 5500, if we get a $237 or $238 combo kit here, it actually comes with a gaming mouse. We're just going to kind of ignore that for the purposes of our prices here. It comes at $237. Look at that, $2.42. It is significantly better to buy a combo deal, and this is hands down, than anything that you can get a la carte right now. Similarly, for DDR5, if we look at combo deal like this, for $450, again, you get that same mouse and you get some other antivirus stuff. We're not going to include any of that in the value combo here. But basically, that takes the cost, and you get a better CPU, obviously, with the Ryzen 7600X instead of the 7500F. It comes out to $3.30 for price to performance, which will basically make it number 2 on this list. Note that I did add $20 in for the cost of a cooler for the 7600X. Moving over to the best mid-range production CPU in May 2026, multi-core score here is 170 or greater, and the price is less than $1,000. And yes, Intel has been dominating this chart for quite a while with their core-heavy architecture. However, remember, no socket future upgradability, so you do lose that. However, if you're going to keep these for 5 years, does that even matter? But we see CPUs like the 265K, given how insanely price cut they've been, looks pretty good if you're only doing production work. If you also do any gaming, however, I probably would go with the 250K plus or the 270K plus because they're significantly better and they've been significantly upgraded. And where's Ryzen here? The 9900X needs a price cut. The 7900X got a little bit of a price cut, still needs more. And if we look at combo deals, except for the X3D CPUs, which we'll take a look in the gaming section, right now, the only combo deal that I can see with a production CPU is something like this, the Intel Core Ultra 7 270K plus, 32 gigs of RAM, a Z890 motherboard, and then you get a 240mm all-in-one liquid cooler and the Intel game bundle, which we're not even going to count in this, for $764. Basically brings the price and performance of this down to $2.05, which just crushes anything here, especially again, if you're expecting to keep this platform for 5+ years. All right, let's jump into the best mid-range gaming CPU to buy in May 2026. So this is where the gaming score is 135 or greater, and the total platform price is $700 or less. And honestly, 7600X3D just kind of jumps right off the page. It's insane how much performance you get for a CPU that costs $229. And I also want to say, for those of you like, hey, Jason, in my market, the 7500X3D is cheaper than the 7600X3D. They basically perform almost identically. Just get whichever one is cheaper in your market in the US. That's the 7600X3D at an insane $229. Link down in the video description. And we did a whole build guide for this. You get a budget tower air cooler with it. We did a nice digital one for only $25. And it gives you similar performance to the 7800X3D. You can pair this thing with basically just about any GPU on the market. Obviously, 5090, 5080, go up in CPU power a little bit. But look at that, it's insane. I did look at some of the Newegg combos out there as well. For instance, the 7600X combo is pretty compelling. The one we just looked at, if you add in $20 for a budget tower air cooler, and I'm not going to count the mouse or the antivirus software, it does come out pretty well at $3.30, a little bit better than obviously the 7500F here. We already saw that. I did also look at like this combo, for instance, for the 7600X3D. It's just not good enough. It's got a, 512 gig SSD. I think a lot of people would prefer 1 terabyte in this, and probably that $119 just kind of goes to waste then. And if we take a look at it, it's actually a little bit more expensive to buy the combo deal with the 7600X3D than just get the 7600X3D and select the parts yourself. All right, moving over to high performance production before we get to high performance gaming. And we are gonna look at Newegg combos for the X3D CPUs in that in just a moment. But this is where the multi-core score is 250 or greater. And honestly, Intel multi-core just crushing things right now with the 270K plus, 250K plus, or the discounted 265K. Again, the 265K is not a good performer in a lot of areas. I would probably spend a little bit more money because look at that. It's the same price to performance as the 270K, even though it costs more, because the 270K just is a much better kind of package basically with all the software on it, including when we look at the combo deals. What else are we looking for here? If you want that future upgradability or you also want super high performance gaming, the 9950X3D or the 9950X3D2, remember, are higher performance than the 270K plus because this is organized by price to performance. So if you're looking the highest performance, they're down there. They're not great value, but they are higher performance. If you want combo deals, again, we've already cited this deal in the previous mid-range section. It's pretty insane. It's not the best motherboard. It is a nice 32 gigabyte kit. It's not the best cooler, but it's perfectly adequate. So you could pick this up, or you could go a la carte with it. In terms of like other combo deals for production-oriented Ryzen CPUs, they don't have a lot more. They actually just got rid of a bunch yesterday. I wish I did this video last week. They had a ton of them, including this one where they've got for $2,300 basically with 64 gigs of RAM and a 4 terabyte Samsung 990 Pro, which is high performance production stuff that you could also consider. Let's jump into the best high performance gaming CPU in May 2026. So this is where the gaming score is 160 or greater. And let's go through this. Now, all of the a la carte ones that I have here, not the Newegg combos, are 16 gigabytes of RAM. The Newegg combos, however, that we're going to select are 32 gigabytes, and we'll go through why that is in just a moment, mostly because they removed a bunch of the good 16 gigabyte ones. If you're just looking to build this yourself a la carte without a combo deal, the 7600 X3D makes a lot of sense. I think if you're looking for higher gaming performance, but you're not ready to step up to like a 9800 X3D, or more expensive gaming CPU, or the 7500 X3D if that's the better priced one in your region, especially with 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM for about $220, a budget tower air cooler. It just reads value all the way. If you want higher gaming performance, let's look at the 9800 X3D, 9850 X3D, and the 7800 X3D, including the Newegg combo deals. Let's talk about those combo deals. Now, Newegg removed a bunch of them yesterday. Unfortunately, I do expect they will start adding them back in for their fantastic sale, which is the competitor to Amazon Prime Day. So we should start seeing them come back, fingers crossed, because I don't know that for sure, but fingers crossed we'll see them come back. And the ones I picked out here are to be representative. The only CPU combos they have is with the 9800 X3D, the 9850 X3D. They have that, an X870 Tomahawk, and 32 gigs of DDR5 6400 CL32, which is really good RAM, and it's an ARGB kit. In terms of the 7800 X3D and the 9800 X3D, they don't have CPU combo kits right now for those. So I picked one that's CPU agnostic with basically the cheapest one. For $783, you get a 2 terabyte NVMe SSD, pretty good one. And then you get 32 gigs of DDR5 6000 RAM with it. This Corsair Vengeance, RGB. And then you get a super nice Gigabyte X870 ICE motherboard, which looks amazing, by the way. If you want to do an all white build, this just looks really, really nice. And what I did is I added those CPU costs and the cooler costs on top of that, and we get these costs that we get priced to performance. Now, remember, 32 gigs for the Newegg combo kit, 16 gigs for everything else. I think if you want a super high-end gaming PC, I would probably pick up the 9800 X3D with that 2 terabyte NVMe SSD, because remember, you're getting that on top of this. That's just really, really hard to argue with. I do like the 9850 X3D combo. You could, of course, add a different 2 terabyte drive for not much more than that. Probably finish around $1,300 for 32 gigs of RAM. Or the 7800 X3D is also really, really good value. But at $1,180, I'm like, for 50 bucks more, I could have gotten a 9800 X3D. I'd probably go that direction instead, especially that CPU is a little bit easier to cool to it and obviously more performance. Let's play everyone's favorite game. Should you buy now or should you wait? Either to Prime Day or to like maybe Black Friday towards the end of the year, because it does seem now that we are going to get Intel Nova Lake X3D CPUs, and maybe that'll force AMD to launch Zen 6 this year, at least the desktop Ryzen Zen 6 this year. So we'll have to wait and see on that, but that's all speculation, and we've seen what happens when you wait for things. Remember, look at all the poor folks who waited for the 50 series. Then the 50 series massively overpriced, and then we had the RAM crisis drop right on top of it. So I just think waiting can really be a fool's errand, but we're only talking about maybe a month to get to Prime Day. So I think if you want to wait till Prime Day, you're absolutely fine. I was a little alarmed to see like most of the DDR5 combo deals like literally vanish off a Newegg site yesterday. I was like, oh no, is this the end of the combo deals? Have we finally gotten here to where they're selling everything else at a massive discount, but they've run out of that stuff? And so now you're just paying the price for the RAM and you're paying the price for whatever else is left over. I don't think so. I don't think we're there yet, but that's always a danger. Just know if there's a combo deal that you see and you're like, wow, that is a great price. Like, how much more can you possibly save? I would go ahead and grab it. Now, I do expect some big discounts around Amazon Prime Day, around Newegg Fantastic, including that we're seeing GPU prices, by the way, especially on AMD Radeon cards at the higher end, dramatically fall. We've seen big discounts on the 9070. We've seen big discounts on the 9070 XT. Recently, a $629 9070 XT, it's basically MSRP because that's an OC model. It's a higher end model as it is. So it's basically at MSRP all of a sudden. Will we see those same discounts for Amazon Prime Day? Fingers crossed we will. And we have heard reports that there are GPU prices are falling in China. GPU prices are falling in other regions. They just haven't really fallen that much in the US right now because of low demand, essentially. So, well, that's all good looking stuff. Now, obviously, with higher oil prices, higher fuel prices, I think prices are going to come up because of that. How much is that going to impact things? I have no idea. This is just starts to get outside of anybody's area of expertise in the electronic world. Just keep that in mind. It may even be why Amazon's going early with Prime Day, just to get ahead of that thing right now. So I think if you want to build a gaming PC, I would probably hold my powder, so to speak, until Prime Day. Although if I saw some good deals right now, I wouldn't hesitate to go ahead and snap them up. We've got everything linked down in the video description, the CPU spreadsheet. We've got the combo deals from Newegg and the global RAM deals as well. So check those out. And we've got some GPUs linked down there so you can check out pricing ahead of the sale. If you got value out of this video, please give it a like. And of course, subscribe for more cool PC content like, did you check out our Ultimate Ryzen Build Guide right here? What's the Ultimate Ryzen Build Guide in 2026? It's a supercut of everything you need to know. And check out our early prime look at prices for gaming monitors and other components as well. Check it out, and we'll catch you on the next one.